West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Emporia State Federal Credit Union. Learn more at esfcu.com. Text or call the number 620-342-2336 to get started today. ESFCU is the Shovix banking of choice, federally insured by the NCUA. This episode of West War Room Rivals is brought to you by JBW Solutions Industrial Safety Services, your remote safety partner no matter where work takes you. From the job site to the office, JBW Solutions brings OSHA 10 and 30 training, plus a full lineup of compliance services straight to your screen. Whether you're a small crew or a major operation, they make safety simple, accessible, and effective. Visit jbwsolutionsllc.com to learn more today and stay compliant wherever you are. West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Field Ops. Kansas sports fields just got an upgrade with Field Ops. Looking to reserve top quality sports fields in Kansas? Whether you're organizing youth tournaments, adult leagues, or weekend pickup games, Field Ops is your go-to platform for discovering and booking the best athletic fields across the state. Instant online reservations, detailed field info such as locations, amenities, and photos. Field Ops is also trusted by coaches, organizers, and athletes. From Wichita to Overland Park, Field Ops has got you covered with real-time availability and streamlined scheduling. Get in the game at gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. That's gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS.
Welcome into the War Room. Thank you to our sponsors, as you just saw on the intro videos. Let's start with roll call. I am your host tonight. I'm Corey. I am representing the Broncos, and sitting over here to my right,
I am Austin, co-host, representing the Chiefs.
Cody.
And this is Cody, representing Raider Nation.
And this is Matt, representing Orange Crush News 365, representing the Broncos.
All right, boys, we got another special guest tonight. So last night we had Sylvester Morris, former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver, on. Tonight, Matt and I are very enthused to have a former Bronco on. It's our kind of second Bronco. We had Quentin Jammer on a couple weeks ago. So joining us tonight is Matt Prater, second team All-Pro in 2013, two-time Pro Bowler 2013 and 2016. He was also a second-team All-American in 2003, and he has the most 50-plus yard field goals in NFL history, 81, and he's out of the University of Central Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in Matt Prater.
All right. Welcome to the show, Mr. Prater.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me.
Man, thank you so much for joining us. And we've actually had about 10 to 15 minutes to chat, so it's been nice to get to know you.
It's been cool.
And like we had talked about before we got on here tonight, we were planning on doing, we're going to go in order: college, NFL, and then we'll have some fun lightning round questions towards the end. So we'll go ahead and let Cody get us started with the questions here in second segment, college years.
All right. So, of course, I'm sure you get this a lot, Matt, where, obviously you were a kicker in the NFL, but when did you realize that you wanted to be a kicker, or what started you on that path?
So I grew up playing soccer and baseball. Enough, you guys remember the Gramatica brothers?
Yeah.
Kickers.
Yep.
So growing up, their youngest brother Santiago was on my soccer team, and they were family friends. And so when Bill and Martin started kicking, and they got scholarships and went to the pros, my dad at one point had all four of us boys out there kicking. So I stuck with it, and it worked out. But the Gramaticas are what got us into kicking.
Nice.
It's really cool.
I think we're having some connection
Yeah,
issues.
that's awesome. So,
Go ahead, Austin. You're good.
can you hear me? One,
Yep.
two, Matt.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Matt squared. Yeah. So what was the recruiting journey like as a kicker into your college years?
So for me, as a kicker, I wasn't like, a 5-star, recruit or anything like that. For me, it was a lot of schools were recruiting me, but it was more to be a preferred walk-on. And then once I think New Mexico State offered me a scholarship, I ended up having, I think, 6 offers my senior year, right before signing day. And UCF actually where I went to school, they came and watched me at an all-star game. Gene Chizik was the D coordinator at UCF, and he recruited me and offered me the scholarship. But before I actually signed, he left UCF and went to Auburn, and then recruited me out of Auburn. But so for me, recruiting, I don't know, it's so different now with NIL and everything else. But for me, it was kind of a big learning experience. I didn't go to the camps, and I got into football later in high school. So a lot of people had never even seen me play or kick until they got to see me in person. But for me, yeah, it was a big learning experience, and I was fortunate enough to get a few offers and chose UCF, and best decision ever.
So, what was your favorite moment as a kicker at UCF?
Oh man, favorite moment at UCF. Probably the most fun I had, honestly, at UCF. I honestly wasn't very good in college. I could kick really far, but I never had a kicking coach. I was just raw. I could go out and kick a 65, 70-yard field goal and miss an extra point. It was going to go 60-plus yards. I just didn't know if it was going to go straight. But favorite memory for me was probably sophomore year when I was doing the kicking, punting, and field goals. But we did, I don't know if you guys have seen, but the rollout punts where you get to catch it and you get the option to run it or kick it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I don't have one memory at UCF that stands out, but just that entire year, we weren't very good as a football team, but our special teams was really good that year, and we had a lot of fun with it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So with you not having a kicking coach, who was kind of like some influences on you while you were at UCF as far as like maybe mentoring you along the way?
I wouldn't say I really had like a mentor, but I always looked up to Adam Vinatieri. He's, in my opinion, he's the GOAT of kickers. When I started getting serious about kicking, like senior year of high school, he's who I tried to emulate and watched and tried to be like. But as far as a mentor, there was a guy named Matt Rock who passed away. He coached in NFL Europe for a little bit, and he coached at UCF before I was there, and he had reached out to UCF, and he thought I was really talented, and he kind of took me under his wing and helped me out through like going into the draft. Even though I wasn't drafted, but he took me through that process and kind of fine-tuned me, and actually was like the first actual kicking coach, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So I got to work with him for a couple of years. So yeah, that would be my mentor, though. His name was Matt Rock.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I have a little bit of a follow-up on your punting days a little bit here. I wanted to make sure we got through that. But when you said you got to roll out and kind of decide, did you end up having a lot of rushing yards in your college career? Could you have had a running back?
No, I was always so nervous, though. Like, honestly, just catching the snap. I don't have the best hands as a kicker,
right.
But I think I only ran like one of them. But a lot of teams, what they started doing, once I ran one, what teams started doing is they would just have a spy kind of just stay at the line of scrimmage and just kind of roll out with me and stay there. So we had a really good net that year because I honestly would just hold the ball and wait for the guys to get down there and just punt it as far as I could. 0 hang time, but it was going far at least.
And when you're doing that, when you're doing the whole rollout thing, because we're seeing it a lot more in college football now with a lot of the Australian punters who are coming over, which is awesome to see. What's going through you're trying to hold on to it to like the very last second to give your chance to give your coverage guys down there. So what's going through your head? Like you're not trying to like do too quick, but you're also not trying to like get demolished.
It's one that you're kind of I always think like smooth is fast, and you're just trying to stay smooth and play with your eyes, having your obviously securing the catch first, and then once you roll out, you're just getting your eyes downfield to make sure no one's coming. So the most important thing is getting the ball off. So like if someone were to come off the edge, I'm just tucking it and kicking it really quick. But that's basically I'm not a huge thinker on the field. I would like to keep it simple, play fast, and not think too much. Yeah. And so that I'm just catching it first and using my eyes and going from there, kind of depending on what the defense does.
Yeah, so I know Matt Williams and I are really excited to get into the Denver days because that's kind of, I don't know how much you're into fantasy football, but you were on my fantasy team like 6 straight years when you were in Denver. I'd get pissed if anyone else would draft you. Literally, everyone says kickers don't matter in fantasy. I didn't care. I needed kickers at altitude in Denver. So my first question is, how did you adjust to that each week when you weren't playing at home all the time with altitude and then going on the road in another environment?
As far as the altitude though, like there's not really an adjustment, just the ball carries a little more. And for me, throughout my career, it's not so much the distance because they're never like. I think in my career, I've only attempted a few 60-yarders. Like it's one thing to go out and it's hard. The hard part is kicking it straight. It's not like
Right.
I don't know how many attempts you've seen where it comes up short. It's maybe a couple a year on something outrageous or a missed kick or something. So I would say there's not really an adjustment as far as that. But the only adjustment maybe now with the new kickoff rule is if you're trying not to hit touchbacks, teams coming, from sea level up to Denver, that might be an adjustment. But going from Denver to other places, you don't really have to make an adjustment.
Yeah. Cody.
I have a quick follow up on that. So, and this is a little bit of a sidetrack kind of. So with the new kickoff rules, do you have thoughts or opinions about them kind of changing it? Because we've had on last night Sylvester Morris, and he was talking about teammates like Dante Hall, and we were thinking like not a lot of athletes anymore are going to have opportunities to return kicks or punts. And as from your perspective as a kicker, what are your thoughts on like kind of the rule changes now that the NFL is implementing?
Well, I feel like the new rule change, they're encouraging returns and keeping it in play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, coming out of college, like it would be a disadvantage for me because I was only looked at as a kickoff guy. I feel like having a strong leg and having that as a weapon in your bag as a kicker, the new kickoff rule kind of takes away from it because now you're almost punished for hitting touchbacks and being able to kick it, further than other guys. Where I think if they wanted to see returns, I would have liked them just move it back to the 30 again.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's just my take.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a follow-up on that. Are you surprised more teams aren't doing what like the Chiefs did with Justin Reed and trying to have like a linebacker or safety or just another position player out there? Because like you said, they're trying to encourage returns, right?
Yeah, and like the hang time doesn't matter because the coverage team can't move till it hits the ground or it's touched.
Mm-hmm.
But yes and no. I think the Chiefs were onto something with that, but it's just so hard because for kickers, like those guys, like he's playing in a whole nother position. He has to learn the defense and everything else at practice. He's not going to be going and kicking balls all day,
Right.
Or even part of practice. But so I think just so for the consistency part, and then for him in particular, like I don't know how too many guys you want covering a kickoff and then playing the deep third of the field right after, but saying like like the Bills just had their backup running back. I saw kicked an extra point, which is cool. I'm sure he can kick off then as well. Yeah, I think it's more so more teams aren't doing it just because of the part of giving a good consistent ball to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. And that actually takes me into my next question of kind of walk us through a training camp or practice for a kicker punter. And then what did you do to train for the kind of power and accuracy you were able to produce? I know you said sometimes you couldn't kick straight, but I mean, I witnessed it Sunday after Sunday that your field goals were always just a work of art. So we'll be humble for you, I guess. But yeah, walk us through a training camp and practice and how you were able to improve your accuracy.
So once you get into training camp, that's kind of when you just kind of go with what you got. The off season, so I'll even go back a little further. So typically after the season, what I do is I won't kick for a couple months, but I'll get all the film of the field goals.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have, for me, my miss is typically like I push it right. And if I can, figure anything else or any other thing that happened that made me miss a couple of kicks, if I can eliminate that this off season, and go into camp and not think about it. So I try to, do all the technique and fundamental stuff and tweaks and stuff before training camp during OTAs and all that. Once you get in camp, you just kind of try to get those reps and get the rhythm and go with what you got. But a typical training camp practice for me, we don't kick every day, but say a day we're kicking, warm up, typical warm up, like no steps, one steps, full steps, and go into the full operation with snap and hold, move around different spots. And then we'll have a live field goal period. So there's usually 6 to 8 reps in the field goal period in 3 to 5 minutes. And sometimes in camp, they do a 2-minute period towards the end of practice. And depending on the situation, we might need a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
So But that's for the most part. And then a different day we might have kickoffs. You know, they do different periods. Like there's typically 2 special teams periods in a 2-hour practice. So one in the beginning, one towards the end. And so we'd kick in one of those, and the punter would do the other one. So a lot of downtime, a lot of mental reps, and we typically don't kick, especially as I've gotten older. They don't have us kick back-to-back days.
Oh wow!
And so it's a lot of quality over quantity, and now with all the new rules, and you're limited how much practice time on the field and everything. So a lot of quality reps, because you don't. Honestly, I think last year we counted. I think we only had 5 field goal periods in camp before our first game.
Oh wow!
It goes pretty quick. Once you get to camp, it moves really quick. You start playing games quick.
Yeah.
So I recently saw that a coach let his field goal kicker determine if they got out of practice soon or early in training camp. Were you ever involved in anything like that, where they're like, "Hey, go out and hit a 55-yarder, and we're done for the day," and you had your teammates kind of hype you up?
Yeah. I feel like over the years that's happened a bunch of times. The one that stands out to me though was at UCF. I was a true freshman. Mike Kruzak was the coach, and Jay Feely's younger brother Ryan was the kicker I was competing with. And so, I was a true freshman, and they said, "Hey, field goal. If he hits this, we're done for the day." And I think it was a 42 or 43 yarder left hash, and I remember I hit it and I snuck it in. I made it. Like, it wasn't like right down the middle, but it was definitely in. Called it no good. And so we had to run and do stuff. I remember all the senior linemen like taped me up and stuff, but that was an experience. And so, that kind of like was the first time, and then, it happened, and it didn't happen again. And then now it kind of builds like chemistry and friendships and all that stuff. It's like, I feel like kind of part of the team now. Like, everyone knew we made it, but I don't know. That one stands out to me for sure.
Do you enjoy then when they do the Pro Bowl? Because I've seen a couple of times where they do like the tic-tac-toe game. Do you kind of like enjoy that? Because it kind of shows like the technique and accuracy that kickers need to have. You can't just boot a ball. You got to locate where it needs to land. So do you enjoy seeing stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I like the flag. I like the old school, like the actual game. But I get it with injuries and everything else. And
participation. Yeah.
Right. So I think it's cool that they're changing it up and, get more people involved and other people bringing them out. So it's cool.
Yeah. What is it? How important is it to have a relationship with your long snapper, especially like in a game where, as you said, your foot's off just a little bit, it can go whichever way. Like, how important is it to make sure that the hold is right, make sure your guys' timing is right? Like, what does that look like when you guys are working all that timing out?
That's huge. Like with snapper and holder, without a good snap and hold, you're screwed from the start, But those guys are so consistent. The snappers nowadays, they snap 10 balls, 9 out of 10 the laces are perfect at 12 o'clock.
Right.
They're so good at what they do. They've gotten better and better. But it's super important to have a good relationship and communicate with those guys and talk. And like Aaron Brewer, we played in Denver together, then out here the last few years. Like, I feel like we took so many reps together. We even I even know how he breathes when he's getting ready.
That's a really tight connection that you guys probably have to have.
Yeah. So we all work together and depended on each other, and those guys do. I think that's super hard to do consistent too. I've tried holding, and I'm awful at it. So
yeah, I've got a little bit of a follow-up. So I'm sure then with having one that you're really close with, I'm sure you've had some ones that you've struggled with where just for some reason, whether it's communication or not, it's just not lining up, right? And you guys have to okay, we have to figure out how this works, or got to change our course of action because, we need to make field goals. Like that's the game of it all,
Right. Well, just try to get reps, keep getting reps and reps and reps. There's been times in Arizona, and Aaron got hurt a couple of times, and you're in the middle of the season, they bring in a new snapper, the rhythm, the timing, and everything else is different, and it takes some time. I think the first year I was out here, Aaron got hurt. I think he broke his arm. He missed 4 weeks.
Oh wow! Uh-huh.
And I think I remember in those 4 weeks though, I think I had missed 1 kick. And then those 4 weeks, missed 5 or 6 kicks, then didn't miss again the rest of the year. And so, I'm not saying it's the snap is what did it, but just the timing and rhythm and the change in it, changes the whole operation up.
I mean, just a millimeter off, and we're talking wide right, wide left, short, whatever it might be. So yeah, every measurement counts when it comes to football, especially for you guys having kickers and accuracy. Like that's literally won games. And I mean, you've won plenty of games with your kicks. So you know better than us to how much like just a little bit of adjustment makes a world of difference.
Yeah, and those guys on the snap too, the whole operation for the pros, it has to be from the snap to when the ball's kicked. It's got to be 1.3 seconds or a little quicker because those guys come off the edge so quick.
Yeah.
And speaking of kicks, and all the things that go into like the kick calculation and whatnot, talking about that 64-yard field goal, that was a record for quite a while from 2013 to 2021. That's probably one of mine and Corey's favorite moments of yours anyway. What was going through your mind as you're about to go? You're taking the field, the clock's winding down, and you're about to get this kickoff. What's going through your mind?
Well, am I allowed to cuss a little bit on this?
Of course you are. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I'll give you like a play-by-play. So it happened so quick. They scored. We were losing, and Peyton did a couple quick plays. I remember he hit Tammy going out of bounds just past midfield. I had no idea it was for the record. I knew it was going to be in the low 60s. I thought maybe 62. Mm-hmm. So Britton Colquitt was the punter and holder. I remember going out, and I get the spot, and he looks up, and he goes, "Shit, this is for the record." And I remember as I'm taking my steps, I go, "Why would you say that right now?" As I'm taking my steps. And I remember that game, it was really cold. And so when I hit it, I didn't think I hit it as well as I could have. And, he's jumping on my back. I hit it, and he's jumping on my back. And I'm like, I don't know. And I see the refs put their hands up, and that's when after I blacked out. Yeah, and randomly, a few years later,
say that?
Leon Washington was the guy they put back to return it if it was short. And he ended up being one of my coaches for a few years in Detroit after that.
How fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was it Randall L? Was that who the player was?
No, it was Leon Washington.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So, and speaking of like record-setting kicks, the one that we just saw recently from Jacksonville, he just hit a 70-yarded, so how do you think that should be in the record books, even though it's preseason, or are you kind of like, it's just preseason?
I go either way with that. Regardless, it's a 70-yard kick in a pro game. I think it should count. Mm-hmm. And, I met Cam last year, kicked with him. He's awesome, super nice kid, really outgoing, funny. He's a guy I'm pulling for, so I was super excited, happy for him. Hopefully he'll get a chance to do it in the regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're going to see more field goals in like the 65 to plus and almost like teetering on 70? Because it seems like over the course, at least since I've been watching football, I remember a time where 50 yards seemed almost unreachable. Then we're now touching on 60. 60 seems to be almost like if you don't make it from 60, you're not on a team, it seems like. And now we've got, a young kid who just kicked it, 70 yards in a preseason game. So do you think that we're going to start seeing more kicks within that longer range?
I think so. I guess 19 years ago was my first year. And when I first got in the league, we were kicking off from the 30. And I remember there was only a few guys that could hit over 60-yard field goals consistently. Mm-hmm. And let's say of the 32, maybe there was 4 to 6 guys that could do that. Now I'd say there's 28 of the 32 that can hit 65 plus. And they're just getting more consistent. Everyone's getting bigger, stronger. I don't know. I just feel like in the past, like baseball, like pitchers. I always go back to baseball. Like guys were throwing 95 miles an hour. Now they're throwing 105. It's just the guys are getting bigger, stronger, and so I think the 70-yarders in the game is not outrageous. I feel like there's a handful of guys now that could consistently go out and hit 70-yarders.
Do you think that it's because obviously with knowledge over from what you said you started, 19 years ago? All that knowledge and all the repetition, all the technique, do you think all that kind of compiles and then turns into like being able to be the most efficient, get the most out of your rep, your kick essentially? So do you think it's because of that? Do you think it's more of like nutrition and, taking care of your body in a sense? Like what do you attribute to like kickers being able to go out there and hit longer field goals, or now that athletes are achieving those like huger accomplishments than what it was before?
It's honestly a little bit of everything. But I think also guys are, I feel like with youth sports now, I don't remember it being like this when I was a kid, but they're specializing, sports physicians, and they're getting really good coaching at such a young age. And I think they take that up and grow with it, and I think it's helping them, get better and better.
So I think now we're getting into the lightning round. So these are just kind of some fun questions. Or did I skip a section?
Yeah, we got a career highlights or career reflection.
Yeah.
Excuse us.
There we go. I apologize. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So we'll go ahead and start with your career reflections and stuff. So I'm kind of curious because I see different kickers do certain things before kick or before kickoff. Did you have a specific routine or a superstition that you would do?
Just crack the smelling salt, and my key. Everyone has different keys, but my key was honestly, I would say, kick the shit out of it and finish down the field. And my key, when I keep my hips and everything on my line at the target, usually the ball stays pretty straight. So that was my key. Once I got that, and that was it. Like I said, keep it simple, play fast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it seems so simple when you put it like that. But a follow-up on that, I don't know if you remember or were watching or had a chance to see when the Chiefs and Ravens played each other, and Travis Kelce and Justin Tucker had that whole pregame shenanigans at the goal line. I'm kind of curious on, did something like that happen to you before in warm-ups? Or if not, how would you have handled something ridiculous like that?
No, nothing like that's ever happened to me. But so in pregame, you have your side of the field and the other team has their side. And so there's basically rules and guidelines of where you're supposed to be, what you can do and whatnot. So typically if I'm kicking on the other team's side and let's say the quarterback starting to throw to the receivers and tight ends, I'm probably not going to set my sticks and stuff right where they're doing it. So that's just my take on it. So I thought that was pretty unnecessary, but it is what it is. Better him than me, I guess.
Yeah.
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 And then I think Austin's next question. Oh, yes. Sorry, he's getting his notes back up.
No, just which was the toughest stadium to kick at for you personally?
I don't like kicking in New England. Anytime you go up to even I've only played at Buffalo a few times. Been fortunate. We had good weather, but I'm sure that's a really tough place to kick. But New England, it has for some reason I just don't like kicking there. They have one end zone that has an open alley almost. I think it's the northeast corner. But the wind comes in and swirls in there, so it's hard.
Oh, wow.
It's really inconsistent. So that's why guys like Vinatieri, Gostkowski, after playing there, and Folk, even hats off to them. It's a tough place to kick, and for them to be as successful as they were there, it's pretty impressive.
It's funny that
New England, so that's right.
Not true, because my mom and my sister are watching this show right now, and both of them are Pats fans. So I'm sure they're like,
"What up, mom and sis?"
Right, poking fun at my dad right now, watching it with him. What was your welcome to the NFL moment?
I'd say I don't really have a welcome to the NFL moment besides being cut. The first time released, and that was kind of you go. High school, you're the guy. College, you're the guy. You're a scholarship. You're the team. You build relationships, and then all of a sudden, you get a knock and turn in your stuff. See you. Best of luck, and that's it. So that I would say, if anything, that was my welcome to the NFL. And it took me getting cut, I think, 4 to 6 times before really sticking in Denver. So,
what did you take away from each stop that you had that really had to change your focus from each cut you mentioned? What was some advice that you took away that you were able to apply and land with Denver and then begin this treasured NFL career?
Honestly, what I tried to do was taking bits and pieces from the veterans and see what works and the different coaching styles, what worked for me, what didn't. And honestly, I wish I paid more attention to that more as a younger player. But like I say, I just took bits and pieces, and it's hard not to get in your own head if you get cut and they say it's for performance. Oh, maybe I'm not good enough, or this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. But I just took it as almost motivation. I'm going to prove them, and I know I can do this, and I just kept going.
That's really cool to share your journey about that. I'm sure. We're not pro athletes, obviously, to sure about that, but I can only imagine what it's like to be told like you can't do this, and then that brings up fire to either want to continue doing it or, you know, have no motivation to want to do it because people who you need to take you onto the team are saying you're not a part of this team. So I can only imagine the type of psyche you need to have as a pro athlete to continue to grind and push through. And so, I mean, I imagine it's not an easy task to do until you find that right home, you know?
Right, for sure. It's all like self-motivation. You got to just find what motivates you and works best for you individually. So, and sometimes for me, you know, getting knocked on my butt is what I need. And
Yeah.
told I can't do something, and I was going to prove wrong.
Right.
I already told you guys to stop.
So you're getting
Yeah, my kids are fighting in the background now.
Oh, it's siblings.
Well,
What else are they going to do, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So you're getting ready to line up for a game-winning kick or an extra point. Who's the biggest trash talker you ever encountered? Because we know they're talking, trying to get in your head and trying to yell at you and say something.
You know, what's funny is I don't even notice it. There was one guy, it was Sean Jones. I think he played for Tennessee and Miami.
Yeah.
I was in Detroit, and we're in line. I think it was like 2-minute warning. It was like a 52-yarder to put us up by a couple. And he was trying to talk smack to me. I didn't even remember what he was saying, but I was like, I don't even know who you are, man.
Well, then it sounds like Britton Colquitt might have been your biggest trash talker then, lining up for that 64-yarder.
Yeah, Britton was awesome. He's a great
What are you doing?
Yeah, Britton's story, it's tough. He basically refused to get vaccinated, and nobody would sign him after that during COVID.
Yeah. That was a tough one.
Yeah.
That was a family of punters. All of them were great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a quick follow-up for you, Matt. You know, playing with Peyton Manning, you had a few good years with him, and he's kind of known for always mentoring his guys and whatnot and telling them what he likes, what he doesn't like. But there's every now and then there's kickers that like to mention like, hey, this is the final drive. We're going to set up for a kick. Put me on the right side of the hash, the left side. Did you ever have any kind of moments like that with Peyton Manning? Like, hey, get me on the right side of the hash, or you just kind of let him do his thing and that was that?
There was actually, for game-winning kicks, I would always tell them I prefer the left hash. I'll take the right. I just don't, especially if it's a longer kick, I don't want it right in the middle. But I remember one game with Peyton Manning at Dallas. It was a shootout, him and Romo.
Yeah.
And I think we were on like the 3-yard line, and they go to set up for the game-winning kick. Peyton Manning goes from the right hash. He sprints and like dives into Ryan Cleaty's legs to get on the left hash. And I'm like, dude, it's a 20-yarder. I don't care where it's at for that one. Don't get hurt. But I remember the coaches they gave me crap. Like, you're going to hurt Peyton Manning to set you up on a 19-yarder on the left hash. You won't kick from the right. But yeah, if asking, I prefer the left hash if I get the choice.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of hilarious. So one of our favorite questions to ask with our AFC West folks, our Westie besties, was there a specific team that you looked forward to playing, kicking against, and just which opponent was that for you in the West?
When I was there, especially with Peyton, the Chargers are the only team that we felt was competitive, where we'd have a game. Like I feel like even when Alex Smith was there and they were 14-2, I remember one time we went to Kansas City, played them. They were 7-0 or 8-1, and we came in there and just rolled them pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say I liked playing the Chiefs when I was there, but that was before Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Yeah, you're very kind to exclude the Raiders from that.
Well, the Raiders actually beat us a lot randomly. Like, for some reason, they had our number here and there, where we were expected to blow them out, and they'd somehow blow us out occasionally.
Well, I do remember. I think when you guys first had Peyton, he had the Raiders numbers, and then I think it was, ironically enough, his last year and Charles Woodson's last year. I don't know what it was, but we had some magic to us, I suppose. But maybe it had something to do with Oakland Coliseum or something, because we had Morris on last episode, and he said that was his favorite stadium to play at, to quiet the fans, but also was a hostile environment walking in,
Yeah, it's great. I forget I played with Cutler, Tebow, Orton, and Peyton in Denver.
Oh, what was it like to have Tebow Mania during that time?
That was pretty crazy. I felt like we had Broncos fans, and then there was Tebow fans, but it seemed like there were more Tebow fans.
Tebow mania for sure, huh?
I loved Tim though. He was a great teammate, great guy.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, like if you ever need someone to give you like a hype up speech pregame, he's the guy for it.
Oh
yeah. I don't know, man. Jameis Winston, I don't know, has a good argument to have for a second place, or at least, jockeying for that first place, because he comes up with some funny, motivational speeches himself.
Yeah, I feel like he would make me laugh. Tim made me, as a kicker, he made me want to go run through the ball.
There you go. So speaking
half
of
the time, I don't know what James is saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Jameis Winston's awake in his own dream, but
so speaking of clutch players, then, because Tebow Mania was all about, his ability to bring teams back, or at least the Broncos back from being down and winning games at the end. Who was the most clutch player that you played with? And it could be from the Broncos, it can be from any of the teams that you've played for. Who was the player that you saw was the most clutch?
Stafford.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Do you have any good Stafford stories?
Well, just playing in Detroit, we had 1 year we went to the playoffs. It was very similar to that year with Tebow, where a lot of flat, like 2-minute drives at the end, where I just felt like anytime we were in the game, we got the ball with even if it was 30 seconds and Stafford had it, I knew we were going to score a kick every time. And he was just unbelievable with that stuff. Peyton was awesome also. It's just I feel like with Peyton, when I was there, we were winning games, in the lead late in the game, where it wasn't like we had to make this last 2-minute drive to win the game.
Yeah.
Where I feel like, half our games in Detroit were that way.
Yeah. Especially that playoff run. You guys were a tough out, is what my buddy would say, where you guys were always in the middle of it. And especially after Stafford and Megatron, of course, Calvin Johnson being in there, that was a very hard team to play. And so I can see where, every game like that was tooth or nail, essentially, when it came to the end.
Yeah, it was tough. It was usually with Stafford. I feel like 1 year our defense was really good, but other years we didn't have the best defense and we couldn't run the ball. So it was always tough, when you're kind of limited. So I was really happy to see him go and get that ring with LA.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I think we were all kind of pulling, like low key, kind of pulling for Matty to get that one. So
yeah.
My son's actually a quarterback because of Stafford.
Oh really?
Oh, that's nice.
Is he your favorite player? Is that why?
He's one of his. He loves Tom Brady, and I think Stafford and Burrow are his next two.
We'll have to send your son some Raider merch, so that way we can bring him into the dark side.
Yeah.
No, we don't have to do that.
He doesn't like the Chiefs. That's the only team he really doesn't like.
Oh wow.
Ooh,
like
your son's going places for sure.
Yeah.
So outside of that 64-yard kick, were there any other pressure moment, like your favorite pressure moments that you're willing to share with us?
Well, I look at when you guys talk about the pressure and moments and different things, you go out for a last second kick, the only pressure that you're feeling is whatever you put on yourself. So maybe when I was younger, but on those last second kicks, it's weird. I don't get nervous. I think of when I go out and I line up, I'm gonna absolutely crush this. I think of I'm gonna try to hit this over the net. This is what I think. And so those kicks, I can think of one the year with Tebow. There was one. I think I went out for a field goal in the first quarter and it got blocked. And it was a short field goal. I didn't go on the field until there was 6 seconds left and had to hit a 59-yarder to tie it. So I guess that would be a high pressure type kick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the later in the year, so it's one of the kicks okay, if you make this, we're going to go into overtime, but if you miss it, we're not going to playoffs type kick. So it's a pretty big kick, but like I said, I don't know, I just go out and expect to make it. And I think if you think positive, and usually you're going to come out on top more than not that way.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I tell my drives on the golf course. It's going to go straight. It's going to go straight. And then all of a sudden it's it's going to go all the way over here to the right. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah. That's a good analogy though. Kicking in golf is identical. It's the same thing. Your leg is the club.
Yeah. That's what I tell myself when I'm going to work. All right, I can get up and go to work today. I'm going to do it. Today's the day.
So that mindset of just being able to, I guess, in a sense, have tunnel vision and block out the noise, block out the pressure that you would put on yourself. I mean, where did that come from? Did it start at a young age? Did you just learn that throughout playing? Like, how did you get to a point to where pressure situations that we recognize high stakes, to us, we would feel that through the TV screen. And for you being on the field, being in that action, from what you're saying is you didn't really put that pressure on you. So where did that come from? Like, how did you develop that?
Honestly, through experience, I would say. I get super nervous watching other guys line up for game-winning kicks. Okay. But just through experience, and in college, I had my first couple game winners in college didn't go my way. So I got to experience being at the bottom and, being really upset and all that. And
right.
You can take that one of two ways: let it kind of crush you, or motivate you, and not go through those experiences again and those feelings. So learn from it, and try to not let it happen again.
Did you have some kicks that stood out to you to where I don't want to say it was like kind of that moment that you just mentioned where you take all those bad feelings and you move past it, but are there some that you can remember and then kind of like embedding that feeling in you to where like, okay, I'm going to make sure that the next time this happens, I come out on top rather than like, absorbing that feeling and letting it linger? Do you remember like a particular time that happened?
No, not in particular, but just over reps of next kick mentality type thing where, we're at the end of the day, we're all human. You're not, no matter what, like Tucker misses plenty of kicks also. Like everyone's going to miss here and there. And just don't linger on it and learn from it. And if it's something that you're consistently doing, you have to make an adjustment.
Yeah. I really appreciate you. I'm just always curious, like, how can you get into that zone of like not letting pressure get to you? But again, though, as you said, like it's kind of inherent to somebody else. But when you're in that moment and you're called to the action, so to speak, you're able to, deliver when needed. And I mean, throughout your career, 81, 50 plus yard field goals. So you've pretty much had it, I wouldn't say figured out, but a good way of being able to process that and move through it efficiently to where you were extremely successful. So I think it's really cool to hear, like, how did you get in that zone?
Oh, I appreciate it.
And then we're going to go into the lightning round real quick. I know we kind of already touched on this with the Cam Little kick, but I'm curious, do you have like a top 5 kickers in the NFL today?
Right now?
Yeah.
Man, that's tough. I'd say Aubrey's up there.
Okay.
I like Dicker the kicker. I think he's really good. Butker's obviously good.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. There's so many guys that are super talented. I'll give you 3. Let's go. Cam Little's pretty talented. I'd say he's really talented in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
No, my hair's too messy, kids. That's 4. I like Matt Gay also. I think he's really good.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think Moody could have a breakout year this year. He's back healthy in San Francisco. He's really good.
Yeah.
So with that, on the 70-yard kick that Cam Little hit, what's it like trying to talk your coach into letting you get it like within that territory of like, hey man, like, come on, let me try this. Like I can do this.
Honestly, you got to show him you can do it. Show him in practice or show your special teams coaches to give him that extra little nudge. And just showing them you can consistently make the distance, and they'll be, especially in the preseason game, like why not? Like go try it. And then if you roll it out there and you make it in the preseason, like shoot, why not? Let's try it in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
I always pictured you like the kicker from the Replacements, just give me the ball and I'll kick the bloody piss out of it.
Yeah.
That's so similar mindset.
Yeah.
So we also enjoyed talking to the former players on here, and I'll kind of bring it up to you as well. Are you mentoring a kicker in the game right now, or do you stay in touch with any of the kickers in the game to kind of, walk them through? Maybe, they're going through a little rough patch and, you've lived it. So you're kind of there. It's kind of like an ear to kind of walk them through it.
I wouldn't say I'm really mentoring anyone, but I talk to a few guys, here and there throughout the season and off season. Randomly, when I was playing in Detroit, Chad Ryland he was kicking for Arizona now, and Moody. I used to work out with those guys and give them little pointers when they were in college. So it's cool seeing both those guys, both drafted and having success and doing really well. But I down the road, I could definitely see myself working with kickers. I enjoy it. I'm coaching my son's football team now. I really enjoy coaching, and that'll be whenever it is next chapter, and really put everything to focus on those guys.
That's awesome.
You got the thick playbook like Peyton has with his kids.
No, definitely not. Our kids are a little younger. I think the first year I coached, I think we had a total of 12 plays on offense. We had 6 to the left and 6 to the right.
Nice. Keep it easy.
There's only one play in that playbook.
Yeah.
One play in that playbook. It's field goal.
Right.
No, that's awesome. So kind of pivoting, relating to the mentor one, what kind of advice would you give to young kickers in today's game now that you've been through it? I
would say take in as much as you can. Listen. You have 2 eyes, 2 ears for a reason, 1 mouth. Listen, observe more than you talk, and definitely quality over reps. When you go out to practice, have a reason for it, and you don't need. Sometimes you have days you're off. You don't need to go kick and just quantity. So it's about quality over quantity. I'd rather have 20 full quality reps than 50 half-assed reps.
So one more question, before we get to mine. Matt, we were kind of talking before the show, and you were telling me that you're getting into a business with your son, into like the trading card business. So my question is actually for Austin. What advice do you have for Matty P?
What advice? It's hard to give advice, right? Because it's kind of a gamble, right? If you just go buy the boxes and whatnot. I guess my advice would be to just know specifically what you're looking for. And if you don't get it, sell the cards. But honestly, it's just a gamble, right? You don't really know what you're getting. Well, I guess you might have some connections or something somewhere that some of us might not. But really, you're just buying a box and hoping you get something.
Yeah. I just recently realized that we're done with the chasing, with the gamble, looking for the case hits, and we started doing just buying them in singles. Just the ones he wants to collect. Like, it's fun to rip them and everything. And we have, tons of cards that we've been organizing and getting ready to sell. We're actually doing a card show with some friends in a couple weeks. But yeah, I've been looking for singles instead of buying the boxes, even on eBay for some of the higher end cards like the downtowns and stuff. I think I'm actually in an auction right now in the mail actually tomorrow. I got a Vinatieri downtown card coming. That was my birthday present to myself.
Yeah, those downtown cards, man, those are, not only are they slick, but those are pretty valuable too. So for you to get what you said, your goat, to get a downtown of him, that's a hell of a birthday present for yourself.
Yeah, he's really cool. That one's not for sale. I'm gonna keep that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's personal collection right there.
I don't even know what that means, but it sounds cool.
Yeah.
We have a whole wall right back here on this table. I'm just seeing stacks and stacks and stacks of cards. There's an office desk upstairs in his office that just has row and row of baseball cards. There's booklets. I have booklets in my room. So, you ever need a card, I'm sure we have some over here.
Yeah, I told him that I was going to put some Brady and Manning, and I think you said Joe Burrow. Is that the same? That's who you're getting into?
My son's right here looking at me. He likes Tom Brady, Stafford, and Burrow are his 3 main ones he's looking for.
Great picks.
Yeah.
Great picks.
Peyton Manning also.
There you go.
I was like, I think I have a few of those that I could probably package up and help send off, just because, I've been collecting cards my whole life, right? Like, yeah, it's a money pit. It's addicting. That's why I compare it to gambling, because it takes a lot of money. You don't know what you're going to get. You might not win, but damn it, you keep doing it. So, I send him a few of those and just enjoy the hobby, right? Like,
for sure.
Do you have any Matt Prater cards? I think
randomly we're at the show this past weekend, and my son's going through, they have their expensive cards in the glass case, and they have the other $1 to $5 cards on the side. My son's flipping through, and he found a numbered card of Lonnie Paxton and I celebrating after a game winner with Denver. And
Oh,
Pax's
wow.
like, oh, Dad, look, there's one of you. And the guy turned and looked at us like we were crazy. But I'm like, yeah, it is me. Like, same tattoo.
It's really neat.
It was cool. He ended up just giving it to us.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
cool.
It's kind of have to
Yeah.
though, right? Like, come on, man. It's I miss the NLI business, right? Like this
Well,
is for me now.
That card, I'm pretty sure he's been holding on that card for about 15 years now. So
Oh,
it's
shoot.
sitting there he's asking $10 for 15 years. I think he's like,
Yeah.
All right. Final question, Matt. Which one would you rather do? Kick at altitude, or do you prefer kicking in a controlled environment?
I'll take the dome anytime, controlled environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
That's a
right.
good choice.
Yeah.
That actually, actually in my head, I thought you would say with the extra, whatever yardage the altitude gives. But I guess when you think about it, when you're in controlled environment, you don't have to literally worry about any of it. You don't have to pay attention to which the wind direction's going. But yeah, no, I actually thought that was going to go different. That's kind of cool.
The only bad part about that is, though, then you don't have any excuses when you do miss.
Oh,
It's all your fault.
you can't say that the window was open, breeze came in, just took the ball.
Right.
All the fans are just blowing air into the stadium.
I mean that lines up with what he said earlier though. Like his goal is to just line up and kick the shit out of it. That's probably a lot easier to do when there's nothing else. You could just go out there and do it, right? So
Yeah.
One of our questions we do like to ask to kind of end it and whatnot. Like we obviously remember you as an athlete, as one of the best kickers we've ever seen. I haven't lived that long, but still, I never got you on fantasy football because this guy. If there was Denver players that I liked, you were definitely one of them. But with all that being said, we also like to ask, outside of just being one of the better kickers of recent years, what do you want people to think of when they hear the name Matt Prater?
Hard worker, just genuine. Like a lot of people in this business, like front office of people, they can say one thing and mean another. I always like to say I'm very honest and straight up, genuine and a hard worker. That's, I'd rather be remembered for things like that than being a kicker anyways.
Right. Yep. And that's why we love to ask that, right? Like we all know you as the kicker and everything, but we want to see that side of you, right? We want to hear about that. So appreciate you sharing that with us. There's no doubt that you are a hard worker. I mean, rumor has it that you never skip leg day. We know that takes work. So
I believe it.
I love that one, by the way. That was funny.
All right, Matt, that's going to wrap it up tonight, man. We again, I can't thank you enough for giving us, almost an hour of your time, especially with family in the background. I'm sure, it's getting late here, so I'm sure that, you have things to do with the family tonight. So from all of us, we do thank you, and we'd love to have you back on again sometime this season and get your thoughts on what's going on in the game today.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for having me. It was fun. Anytime.
Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Prater. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Prater. Thank you.
Thank you guys. All right, see ya.
Take care.
See ya.
Oh,
right,
man,
guys.
that was a big one.
That was
I gotta
awesome.
tell you, man, kickers are as badass as I thought.
Mhm.
Man, just the mindset to have to be able to go in there, nail it, and then on repeat. And man, I think that's the one thing about kickers that don't get credit is how hard that is. It's not, I mean, sure, you're not playing all however many plays that it is offense and defense, but I mean, you have a lot of pressure on you, and to go in there and just knock it through the uprights, I think is such an incredible skill.
Yeah,
And
I
the
know
fact
that.
that he welcomed it, like he welcomed that kind of pressure, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, just give me the ball and I'll kick it." So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's having millions of people watching him do this, and like, I got a presentation at work that I got to give to like 20 people, and I'm like, how do I zone into this? And he's like, I can't just kick the shit out of my presentation, but I wish I could. But no, that was awesome. That was one of my favorite things to hear, that he's like, man, I'm just going to go out there and just punish this ball. I want to put it over the upright.
Yeah.
I think the important part too is we all see it every Sunday, right? Especially, we live for those final kicks, those last second kicks. And then for him to kind of walk us through hey, yes, you have to have, like every millisecond, you have to have it right because the snap's high or it's in the like you don't have time to think. You got to just do your routine and you got to go.
Yeah.
And any one little like half second or quarter millisecond just throws everything off, and that's the difference between going straight or going just wide. So
right.
That was what I was most excited about hearing, because you see it. I mean, we see it every week during the season, and you're kind of just like, holy shit, how did he hit that? Like, man.
Yeah, and then putting that, 1.3 seconds, you don't realize how quick that operation is.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very much like
an eternity when you're watching.
It's very much like it's all about timing, and you can't, like, for example, quarterbacks nowadays on the windup, I think it's like that ball needs to be out in like point whatever seconds. Like it needs to be out in an instant, because any longer, and that's when the play breaks down. Very much for kicking, like they don't have 3 seconds to sit back there and think about it and nail it. They've got less than 2 seconds to get everything snapped up through the uprights, and then hopefully it's good. So they've got no time for just we got to think about this, you guys. No, it's go time. So
yeah, and they don't get if there is a mishap, they don't get a bounce back next play.
Right.
They have to go sit on the sideline and think about it.
Right.
Or we think they would do that. According to Mr. Prater, it's give it to me again, I want it type deal. But yeah, they don't get to go out the very next play and kind of move on. Like they have to sit in it a little bit. So a lot of mental goes into that, right? You have 1.3 second operation that you're trying to do.
Right.
Any mishap, you have to sit on it for 30, 40 minutes sometimes.
One of the things I love to see is on those like college game day shows, pre-shows, where you have Pat McAfee, who has fans come out, attempt just an extra point. It's not even, it's not a 50-yarder. It's the 33-yard field goal. And then you see like how hard it truly is. And these are guys that are boldly on the internet saying stuff about a kicker like, oh, I can make that. Okay, let's see how you do it. And then they just absolutely suck at it. So it is a skill. It is not something that everybody can do. And I love that that's kind of showcased. And I love to hear, Matt Prater just talking about the workouts it requires. Like it's all about quality, not quantity. Like that's a big deal on how you become, as good as he is.
Yeah. He's one of the most he's one of the most accurate kickers for a reason. Again, like you said, quality over quantity. Like he's an accurate kicker for a reason. He's in the top 10 of the best kickers for a reason. And just hearing like, his pregame thing. Oh yeah, I just crack open a smelling salt and I was ready. That's kind of like our morning routine where, we're in our group chat and I'm like, yep, I just cracked open the bang. I'm ready to go. And Matt's bang was a smelling salt. So, and just how humble he is and like how welcoming he is with all of his team. And he was just like, yeah, I was just going to go out there. I was going to do my best. And, I never thought like I was ever going to miss a kick. I just went out there. I'm like, oh, I'm going to kick this ball to the moon, that Charlie Brown style.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's telling, he got to tell Peyton Manning, hey, put me on the left side. He put me on the left hash, right? Not a lot of people get to boss Peyton Manning around. And Matt Prater is one of those guys that got to say, hey, it's the last drive. If you get down there, put me on the left hash. Like,
well, he delivered. That's why. And also too, the names that he dropped that he got to play with Tim Tebow, Jay Cutler, Peyton Manning, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray. I mean, just names and names and names. So I think it's incredible that he got to share his journey. And then I love too that we got to see him in action, talking about and being a dad, sharing a hobby with his son on card collecting. Like, how cool is that to see that side of athletes that we don't get to see often? So I thought it was really cool.
Real quick, my mom just texted me and she's like, we got such a kick out of his New England anecdote. So shout out to mom. And mom, your grandson is doing just fine. He's got his tablet, so he's good.
Thanks for watching, Mom.
Well,
Mom and
boys,
sis, if you both are watching.
I'd love to say we're done for the week, but we're not. So, yeah. So Sylvester Morris last night, Matt Prater tonight. Tomorrow, Eric Warfield, former Chiefs defensive back. So we're back at it again tomorrow night. Gents, before we sign off, do you guys have anything that you want to drop?
Not drop, but just remind people, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We need these subs to go up. We have so many fun guests planned. Corey's been working like a madman behind the scenes, getting some creators lined up. So be on the lookout for that. Matt and Austin, they've been doing a lot of magic lining up these guys, and there's more to come. So there's a lot of excitement. So please subscribe, be involved, be interactive. You guys are missing out on a lot of fun. A lot of these athletes are super cool. We added another Westy Bestie and Matt Prater. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's what I would advocate for.
And also don't forget to take advantage of our affiliate codes with Spy Optics with the beautiful glasses. When you check out, don't forget to use the code ORANGE20. And thank you again to Emporia State Federal Credit Union, JBW Solutions LLC, Field Ops Kansas. And thank you guys. Again, we love our sponsors. We love everything they're doing for us. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we love doing. So again, to remind everybody, we have tomorrow Eric Warfield, former Chief, defensive back, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Also, shout out to Mama Shovik for the sunglass emoji. We appreciate you.
Absolutely,
Mama
Shovik.